It is November 13th. This is the Top Rope. I am Hollywood J. Williams. I am joined here by John Zimmerman. We are no longer joined by Jordan Izzo.
Jordan Izzo has been future endeavored.
He has been future endeavored. We wish Jordan the best of luck in his future endeavor.
In his future endeavors, yes.
Definitely. But we are here, and we're going to continue on, giving you some of the great wrestling news as much as we can here. We have another... we have a rerun guest, so to speak, joining us again, and he has won a major independent title.
Yes, the PWA International Wrestling Championship, and it was a fantastic match. I was there to witness it myself, and we'll talk to him about it and see what when he's going to defend it next, and what's upcoming in the PWA.
Definitely, and you can call us up at area code 203-234-0025, numbers on the screen. You can like us on Facebook at The Squared Circle, catch us on Blip, and YouTube. We have our own YouTube account.
Yes, we do. You can watch us all day, every day. I do.
Well, what else is there to watch besides ourselves?
There is nothing else.
I don't think so.
Well, there is Raw.
There is Raw.
Talk about. But,
Raw's on after us.
That's correct.
We're not on before Raw. Raw's on after us.
And remember, we're always on free TV. You don't have to have a pay-per-view. You don't have to do anything but watch.
That's it. But speaking of the pay-per-view, as in view that you have to pay for, another TNA pay-per-view last night. Turning Point.
Turning Point.
Was it really a turning point?
Absolutely not. Not very much happened. Titles didn't change hands. It just felt like another episode of Impact. And it seems to me that the trend with these pay-per-views is it's just another show. There's too many of them. We've talked about this before. It seems like every other week between TNA and WWE, it's just one more pay-per-view, and if you tune into either Impact the following week or Raw the following night after the pay-per-view, you're pretty much up to speed. There's really nothing to make it an event.
Right. Back when I was growing up here in North Haven, Connecticut, you only had about 4 major pay-per-views a year for each organization.
Yeah.
And times were simpler back then. I think the product was, more. Pay-per-views were more exciting.
Well, pay-per-views was, the Super Bowl. WrestleMania was the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, and everything, especially the 3 or 4 months before it, built up to that. And it was something that you got psyched for, and you looked forward to it. And there were matches that you didn't necessarily already see on free television that made you want to buy the show, that made you want to spend your money. Right now, I mean, quite honestly, all the pay-per-view buys are down because, like I said, you're getting a lot of these matches. You're getting the same match that you did at the last pay-per-view. Why am I going to pay $50 a month? And who can afford, $50 a month on wrestling?
It's hard. It was hard, yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have the results for the Turning Point. For those that are interested in what transpired, the TV title, Samoa Joe took on Magnus. He kept the TV title.
Yep.
Eric Young and ODB. I think aren't they the women's tag team champions?
Yeah, they're the Knockouts tag team champions, and they should
what
seriously.
Few knockouts they actually have left in there?
What's left? Yeah, and both brands are slowly getting rid of their Divas and Knockouts division. The women's division is poorly suffering. And, if you want to look at some of the independent promotions, Shimmer is a great example. Shimmer puts on great wrestling, great promos, great characters, and, WWE and TNA should,
I would love to see Shimmer one of these days.
Yeah, WWE and TNA should buy some of that talent up, or buy the whole promotion up, and have a night of just women's wrestling.
Awesome Kong or Karma, her former manager, I think, was from Shimmer.
Yes. Yeah, and
Melissa Anderson.
Yes.
But Eric Young and ODB, they won their match over Tara and her boyfriend Jesse Goddard's.
Yeah.
From Big Brother fame.
So the women's championship, now they need to change it to intergender.
Yeah, I guess so. That'll be the next thing.
Right. And wasn't that created by Andy Kaufman, the intergender
Oh,
champion?
yeah.
Right. So everything old is new again.
Everything old is new again. The X Division title, Rob Van Dam, who I met a long time ago,
Yes,
on a previous show I was on, he kept his X Division title over Joey Ryan.
Right.
Doc, Director of Chaos.
Director of Chaos. You heard it here first on the show. I said it was going to be Luke Gallows in Aces and Eights, and it's Luke Gallows, changing his name to the Director of Chaos, DOC.
The director.
Doc.
So he goes from a guy that used to just stand there with his tongue sticking out to the director.
Well, the previous Festus, so you're going way back. Yeah.
You're going way back.
But I mean, it's good to see him wrestling again and getting a little shot at it. You know, I don't think he's ever had a really good character as of yet. So maybe, you know, this will be. The man is talented. The man deserves a shot, and he's just given one bad gimmick after another.
Yeah, I think this might be a good gimmick for him, at least for the time being. Anyway.
And he defeated Joseph Park, who had moves just like Abyss. I don't know. It was uncanny that Joseph Park.
Well, they're brothers, aren't they?
Oh, maybe he got taught by his brother.
That's his twin brother.
That has to be it.
Mm-hmm. Joseph Park.
Yes.
Attorney at law.
And we've never seen the attorney at law or the IRS agent or anything like that. But
you've never seen Joseph Park and Abyss in the same room at the same time.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I thought they were brothers. Aren't they supposed to like hang out?
Yeah. I hang out with my siblings.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my sister lives in Virginia, but I still manage to talk to her once in a while.
Going on, Kurt Angle defeated Devon. That was probably the best matchup of the pay-per-view, because I mean, here you have two guys that can still work, you know, and get in the ring and just do it. Kurt Angle's still amazing in the ring. I think he's actually gotten better since he's had to, you know, change his style, so to speak. You know, it's no more just German suplex, German suplex, German suplex. You know.
Right.
So.
He's very diversified.
Yeah,
he can do just about anything.
I think he's gotten better, and I was never a huge fan, and he's making me a fan.
He can work heel, he can work babyface. He usually changes it up. I notice he always goes from good to bad and good to bad quite often. Every 3 or 4 months he'll change it up.
Yeah, you know, it's got to get stale. So, you know, even just for his own entertainment. You know?
Right. That's probably why he does it, so you can never say he's bored.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Number 1 contender, James Storm, defeated Bobby Roode and AJ Styles, a 3-way match. You also had the tag team titles, Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez with a win over Daniels and Kazarian.
Right.
That's a great team too, Chavo and Hernandez.
Yeah, and again, the belts didn't change hands. Nothing, you know, nothing really changed.
Nothing really changed
on this entire pay-per-view.
For a show that is called Turning Point, and you think Turning Point, everything would change.
Right. It was at least something.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to be like
it's
another.
Supposed to be a turning point.
Right. And it just seemed to be just spinning our wheels, waiting for the next pay-per-view.
You get married, that's a turning point in your life.
Yo, say that again.
You have children, that's a turning point in your life. So
right. Right. You know, things change.
Right.
The point is, turning point is something is different at the at the outcome, and nothing really changed. Nothing progressed. And I like to see things move forward. You know, and like I said, it's just spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. So the people that spent, well, what was this, $50?
Yeah, easy.
You know, the people that spent $50 on this, what did you get? You know, that you couldn't get for free. You know,
at least last time that you found out Devon was part of Aces and Eights.
Yeah, there was some reveal.
Some reveal. But the ladder match, Jeff Hardy, like we said, nothing changed. He's still the champion. Austin Aries, he defeated him in a ladder match, but the ladder match is Jeff Hardy's forte. It's what pretty much made him successful.
Yes, yeah. But, you know, the thing with Jeff Hardy, I mean, they're sticking with him regardless of his controversy outside the ring because he sells merchandise.
Right.
And, you know, Austin Aries has been with the company for so long, and he's been up and down as far as his popularity and his character goes, and he really deserves more than just laying down for Jeff Hardy all the time. You know, and you know the guy. I know Hardy makes money for the company, but he also puts a big black mark on the company every time he gets, you know, in trouble outside the ring.
Oh, of course.
And you know, you're taking these huge hits for you know, for a guy, you know, just to sell armbands.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's why, because he sells the merchandise, and there's really nowhere else to. Maybe they take pity on him. There's really nowhere else for him to go. Would Vince McMahon really want him back?
No, not at all. Not at all. But we'll get to Vince in a little bit. But you know, Austin Aries, you know, if you were to take some of these younger fellas, and we'll talk to one of the younger fellas today, and really get behind them, right? Because at some point nobody knew who Hulk Hogan was. At some point nobody knew who Jeff Hardy was until they gave him exposure and they gave him a push. And by just sticking with the old school, sticking with the tried and true, right? You know, I don't see the future. I don't see who's going to, you know, I mean, are we going to be sitting here a year from now still talking about Jeff Hardy, still talking about Rob Van Dam? God, I hope not.
We might, though.
Oh, God.
But it could very well be a reality, because as long as these guys can still go, they might just use them. Going over to WWE, proud to announce tonight the return of Jerry the King Lawler to the announce booth.
Yeah, that's you know, a real great return. You know, and to contradict myself, they're now going back to old school. Jerry definitely deserves his spot. He definitely deserves to be there, and it's good to see him back. And I'm glad he's healthy and back where he belongs.
They will. The announce team will also include Jim Ross and Michael Cole. So Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler aren't going to be out there by themselves.
Right.
They'll have the JR as a third person there.
I think it leads a good dynamic, because JR adds more, I think, credibility, and he's got more insight and just some of his own, you know, colloquialisms, you know, the slobber knocker and all that. You know, you got to add that into
the Pier
it.
6 brawl, slobber knocker, government mule.
So yeah, he's you know, he just adds that extra flavor to the mix. So
I always liked Jim, even back in WCW.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He was always
he's a class act all the way. And
definitely.
It's good to see, like I said, it's good to see Jerry back.
Now I understand there's been some changes to the Survivor Series. It's been a long day here at the offices. Survivor Series card. There was going to, I guess the classic 5-person team is Survivor Series match is still on.
Yes.
But they're making CM Punk defend the title.
Yes. So they took him out as the leader and put in Team Ziggler now.
It's Team Ziggler.
Yes. So I think it's good. Dolph Ziggler, again, has been a guy that's been around for a long time, and I think he's definitely deserved his shot. And the best thing that he can do, though, is to get rid of Vicky Guerrero and go out on his own and learn to talk by himself. You know, it's about time that he's taken over some control of his career, and maybe this will give him a little shot in the arm, so to speak.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and Vicky's moving on to the managing partner of Raw. This is something I don't think we've covered because we haven't been on in a couple weeks.
Right. I'm not excited about this storyline. She's spying on AJ Lee and John Cena. We saw this months ago in TNA with Claire Lynch. This is the Claire Lynch. I mean, it's like, wait a minute. TNA was known for ripping off WWE. Now
WWE is getting back at them by ripping them off.
Right. I mean, is it a big rib on on TNA? Is Vince just like saying, oh, we can do that too, and goofing on them? I don't get it, and I think we're all being taken along
what's the point if John Cena is going through a divorce anyway? If he and AJ Lee are dating, really, honestly, what?
Yeah, it's really not necessary for the program. It's not necessary as a storyline, and that 5-10 minutes could be given to somebody that that deserves it.
All you got to do is talk about John Cena going through a divorce, and therefore, even if they are, that means so what?
Yeah, I mean,
the whole.
Yeah, the whole storyline is just silly and unnecessary.
It's a waste.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Just like the 3 hours might be a little too much.
There's rumor that we're going to see the end of the 3-hour Raw, which is great. You know, 3 hours is too much. And like I said on the last episode, you got 3 hours of Raw. You've got 2 hours of SmackDown. You've got an hour of Superstars. You've got Saturday Morning Slam. Then you have an hour of Wednesday Night Main Event. I mean, how much wrestling? And then, you know, that's just the WWE product, and not to mention the TNA product. And then you got the pay-per-views. You know, and it's like, you know, I have a job. I have a wife. I have children. You know, come on. I don't have a life to sit and just watch WWE and TNA all the time. I enjoy it. I love it. It's fun. It's a distraction, but not 7 hours, 8 hours a week.
You know, when you fast forward through the commercials on your DVR or VCR or whatever you have, the amount of action you actually are probably getting,
right? And it definitely
is probably about an hour and a half.
Right.
Of that.
And you know, there's so much product, and we're seeing the same people doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just watered down. It really is. It's getting very tiresome, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't the point of the whole brain extension to have different people on the different brains.
Yeah.
And you're always seeing people from SmackDown on Raw.
Yeah, I don't think there is no. There's no differentiation. You know, it's whoever, you know, they want to talk about today. I would love to see the brand split. I've said it on the show before. I would love to see the brand split again, and then at the pay-per-view, it would add that dynamic where you're going to see these people that you don't see every week.
Right, exactly.
You know, interacting. So then on the pay-per-view, then they interact.
We have a call to get to.
Excellent.
You are live on the Squared Circle.
Well, I wonder if Vince is cutting back on the show because now that he's $100 million in the hole, courtesy of his wife's food sales run for the Senate, maybe he just needs to cut back a little bit.
That's a possibility, but I mean,
I'm doing that just kind of. How are you, gentlemen?
Talking to you. Excellent, thank you, sir.
Pretty good, Ed.
Good. And I saw the opening, very slick opening.
I like that.
Nice job by the crack staff at NHTV.
Yeah, that's a little of our. I went down to the North Haven Fair back in September and got some footage.
Yeah, looked very good.
Yeah, a very good friend of the show did that opening for us. I don't know if we've thanked him enough, but he does a great job for us and helping us out. And we do have a great support team here.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw it, but it looked very nice. Listen, I'd like to introduce a new independent wrestler, Mark Sanchez. Get him out of the offense for the New York Jets and let him go wrestle or something like this. These weekends are killing me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you contact him and get him to come on the show. I'll be glad to have him.
You know, and I've been a big Mark Sanchez supporter, but I could bring Joe Namath back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Leave Sanchez where he is.
I think TNA is talking to Joe Namath.
Who's here in the background?
That's one of our peanut galleries.
Yeah.
That is Talking with Tom.
Yes, I understand his team should apply for independent wrestlers. By the way, speaking of Tom, a good job with his Tommy Palooza that I saw on Facebook. Did a fine job, and I know I spoke to you two gentlemen at the very nice event.
Oh, yeah, that was a great event.
Tommy Palooza was a great event, and Tom raised a considerable amount of money right here for North Haven Television, and we need to thank Tom for that. And
knowing Tommy, I would check his pockets first. I know they raised a lot for TV, but I'm sure after Tom took his cut, they probably got like 15, 20 cents or something like that.
I made sure to rip roll him before he walked out the door.
What's this about his Toys for Tots on December 4th?
Yeah, what do you know about this? Toys for Tots, December 4th coming up. An event here with you and Tom, correct?
Yes, looking forward to that. I've already circled it on my calendar. I know I'll be finished crying from the Jets' loss from December 2nd, so I'll dry my tears by December 4th and look forward to the Toys for Tots show. One other thing, if I may, gentlemen, I know this show is called The Squared Circle, but being an aficionado of the sweet science boxing, I know you were off a couple of weeks. I wanted to acknowledge the passing of two boxing legends that your viewers may be aware of. One is Emmanuel Stewart, who was a trainer for the Kronk Gym and was announcer on HBO for a while, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. And for your older boxing fans out there, Carmen Basilio, who was a great middleweight champion back when I was young, which was many, many, many years ago, passed away at the age of 85. And I just want to acknowledge that is kind of a squared circle.
Right. And we also had.
Gentlemen, that's all for me. Good show tonight.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Too.
While we're on that subject, we also had a loss in the wrestling world, correct?
We had Brad Armstrong at the age of 51.
Wow.
I put that up on our Facebook page. Don't exactly know too much of the details.
Yeah, I didn't. I saw the article, and they didn't have the full story as of yet. But Brad Armstrong, longtime trainer, wrestler, and he hit most of the circuits. As far as down south and here in Connecticut. And when we find out some more about that, we'll definitely pass it along. But at 51 years old, I'm almost there. It's scary. It really is.
But other things, everybody, unless you've been away from your television sets over the last week, Linda McMahon lost her U.S. Senate bid.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid talking about this on the show before, and I was a huge McMahon supporter. My sons and I went to many of her events, and she was the nicest person. Always remembered my younger son. Every time she would make a point of going through the crowd and saying, "Hey," and grabbing his hand and shaking his hand. I remember you. And she was just really nice. And I must admit that originally I did get into Linda McMahon because of the wrestling connection, and then having met her, listened to her speak, read all of her platform, and I did become a supporter of her politically. And I honestly, to be fully open, I was and always had been a registered Democrat, and before the primary I went and changed to a registered Republican so that I could vote for her in the primary. So, I mean, she did change my view that much. But that's just me personally. And it's unfortunate that she didn't make it in.
But she can always still be an advocate for people. And,
absolutely.
Definitely. And she still has money floating around, I'm sure, a little bit left.
She had been on the Board of Education in Greenwich, and and did some work there and got some things done there. And she's had her toe in the political waters, so to speak. And I hope that she decides to continue on with public service.
Definitely. Well, I'd like to get to our guest in just a minute.
Yes.
But a couple more things. Between 45 and 50,000 tickets have already been sold for WrestleMania 29.
That's half the arena.
What's
Pardon
that?
me?
That's about half the stadium.
That's about half the stadium.
Half the stadium.
Half the stadium is sold so far.
Already sold.
And that may show for WWE stock right after the election jumped 36 points. So I think we could possibly see the end of the PG era and Vince trying to make some of that $100 million back.
Yeah.
That
was lost.
That was lost on the two bids that Linda made in Connecticut.
And then Mark Henry has been helping out with the hurricane relief.
Yeah. That's it's always good to see these guys out there.
Definitely.
I mean, a WWE talent just showing up is going to bring in interest and money into any kind of effort. Whether it's Toys for Tots, whether it's their Be a Star campaign, or whether it's the Cure for Cancer. The Coleman Fund.
That I think is a great cause.
Oh, absolutely. They just was it last week on Raw handed over a $1 million check.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's great. So just from this $35 shirt alone. So that's just fantastic. That the WWE, basically the WWE fans can donate the $1 million to Cure for Breast Cancer, and I think we've all known or been touched by it in some way.
Definitely.
So
if you know somebody has some form of cancer, or, or breast cancer. But anyway, here is our rerun guest. He's back, and he brought something with him this time.
Absolutely. We
right.
got some hardware in the house.
That's
He
right.
brought the
some hardware with us.
PWA International Championship that he has won,
Yeah.
Mr. Buzz Bloodsaw. And he remembered to wear red this time and not blue.
Thank you for having me back. Yeah, I mean, last show, I mean, you're talking about what transpired at what shows and what went on.
Yep.
I mean, one of the main events, well, the main event of our last show was obviously the tournament for the International Championship. Coming into the semifinals, it was myself, Earl Cooter, Mega Muerte, and Joseph von Schmidt. Obviously, I made it through, Mega Muerte and then Joseph von Schmidt. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, you're saying some hardware in the house. Well, it was a fought hard win. So,
Right.
In the match with Mega Muerte, I did injure my ribs a little bit, bruised them, had some a little bit of blood's coming out. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh yeah,
spitting up a little bit, but ultimately, hey, you fight through when you really want it, and there it is. International title.
Yeah, I do have to say that I was at the event with my family, and it was just a great night, highly entertaining. Wrestling without the fireworks and the light show and the lasers and all that great stuff. You know what? It was just wrestling. And Joseph von Schmidt came out, and his character, fantastic performance. Mega Muerte is huge.
Yeah.
And
yes, he is.
He was just an imposing force without even having to talk. And
how big was he compared to like Batista? Or?
I think he would have knocked Batista right on his keister.
Yeah, Mega Muerte.
Batista on his keister.
Yeah, he comes in at 6'8", 320 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's no small force. And I got to tell you, I wish he would talk because it would probably make him less imposing. Just going in there with a guy who just looks at you. When he's big enough to
and he did that
knock
forward,
you around.
that forward somersault flip kind of deal, and I'm like, this guy is that big, making a move like that.
Yeah.
I was just totally amazed.
Yeah, it's astonishing when he jumps over you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gives you one of the Hulk leaps.
Extremely agile. I had seen him before in the promo pictures, and I saw him, just in passing. I've been down to the gym, and just to see him move was like, wow. This guy is so big and to move that well. And to be that agile, and not to mention, you guys had the original ECW Zombie show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had part of our entertainment, like you said. We want to make sure everybody has something that they're interested in. So one of our other main events was the ECW Zombie.
I remember the Zombie
versus Dracula. And then we brought in Connecticut's own Nocturne,
yes.
The lurking horror himself. So, you can't go wrong with a Halloween show, and you got three of the most memorable characters in all of horror right there in front of you. So
absolutely.
It was definitely really interesting and cool. And Zombie came up out of the graveyard, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see them.
And you also had kind of an intergender match.
We did have an intergender thing, which is this will be a good tie-in because this is actually coming up in the next show.
Yeah.
We did have Gumdrop, which I believe was Pedro Wandon's sister, or so we've been led to believe.
I see.
He did come out and he wrestled Tina San Antonio. Fortunately, Lucifer Lords came out. He made sure things went the right way, the way that they should, and he hit a 720 DDT off the top rope to make sure Tina San Antonio. But on this next show coming up, we do have an intergender tag match. So we do have Pedro Wandones and Candy Cartwright against Lucifer Lords and Tina San Antonio. And that should just be an interesting dynamic in and of itself because...
A little bit of a grudge match there.
Yeah, a little bit of a grudge match on both ends, So, especially because later in the show, Lucifer Lords did come out again and... send Pedro to the wolves, so to speak, with Mega Muerte.
Right.
So I don't think anyone's coming into that match too happy with anyone. So it should be a pretty good match to watch and just see what these guys do out there. So
and getting into the mix was Mr. Ox Baker.
Yeah, Mr. Ox Baker was there. I mean, he's always a classic in and of himself, but it's cool to have him around. I mean, he was in the back in the locker room talking to us and. Kind of letting us know what was going on, and he was just excellent as always. And I do believe he's going to be making an appearance at the next show as well. So if you get a chance to come down and see Ox Baker, December 1st, come on down.
And we are in negotiations right now with Mr. Ox Baker to get him right here on this show.
Hey, there you go.
I think an hour with him is not even enough. Not even enough for 50 plus years of experience and stories and being on the road and and
if
just
Ox Baker comes down here next week.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I've done a couple shows with Ox Baker.
Yeah.
You don't even need to talk. He can do a lot of the talking.
Right. Oh, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah,
I must say, I'm really excited for that.
He's going to be one of the most interesting people to come through the studio
He
ever.
absolutely is.
You know?
Yeah, 50, like I said, 50 plus years of wrestling experience and knowledge and stories and just, you never know what he's going to say.
You never know what he's going to do.
So you're going to defend that when?
Yeah, actually the next show, December 1st. December 1st we haven't, we're all about making sure that people are entertained, so we went out of our way to make sure that we had an excellent show coming up. So we have a triple main event on the next show. I am wrestling in the main event. It's myself for the PW Boy International title against Azrael. He won the 2012 Tough 8 tournament. The Tough 8 tournament was a match that we held on our first show where, like it sounds, 8 guys went into the ring, 1 guy left. Okay. It was a knockout, 10 seconds till you get up, or 20-second count out. And he survived 8 guys, which, although it was fairly impressive, I did go through quite a few hard matches myself, so I don't know. We'll see who's the tougher man, I suppose. But then we've also got 2 other titles being defended, one of which is the FTW Fight the World Heavyweight Championship title. That's coming in from New York, so that's going to be the Rockstar versus Nocturne. So that should be an interesting match.
The Rockstar.
The Rockstar. He is as he sounds. I mean, the man... he's just a rock star.
It's not Heath Slater either.
No.
Thank goodness.
He's been the rock star for a little bit longer than I think Heath Slater's been the rock star. So, but yeah, I mean, that's going to be another interesting match. I mean, I watched the Rockstar wrestle Kevin Nash. I watched Nocturne wrestle ECW Zombie. So they both had their fair share of big name matches. And so we'll see what really goes on between those two. And then we've got another. It's actually another title internationally. It's the England's Pro Wrestling Pride catch title, which Joseph Von Schmidt, that's one of his many belts, and he'll be defending that against AR Fox.
Oh, right.
So yeah, so AR Fox, coming down, that should be an interesting match. I mean, a lot of people know AR Fox.
Yeah.
He just got back from a tour of Japan.
Nice.
So him coming back in, obviously, for a catch title, where it's kind of the whole concept behind that title is anyone can wrestle for it at any time. So. Yeah. That should definitely be an interesting match.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so we're pretty excited, having 3 main events on the show. The intergender tag match. We've also got a grab bag match, which, Christmas season, everyone's done the grab bag at work. So we took a bunch of names, threw them in a hat, and we've got Eddie Escobar, the Matador, versus Bull Dread.
Oh, wow.
Which is very apropos, so that should be so that should be interesting to see the HTA coming up against the Matador. We'll see what happens with that.
We had Eddie Escobar the last time you were on, and I must say that having met him just that night, he's not that large of a fellow.
He's not.
And to see his moves in the ring, on that show was the first time that I had actually seen him wrestle, and just the high-flying maneuvers that he was doing was extremely impressive, and I think he's got a real future in that style of wrestling, almost like a Mysterio or an Evan Bourne or even a John Morrison. If he can get that Starship Pain in there. But I mean, just the flips and moves and jumping off the rope and the upside down kick off the rope. I was really amazed, and I must admit, when he was sitting there next to you last time, I was like, okay, this guy really doesn't look like a wrestler, and I had my doubts, and he definitely quashed those doubts. And,
I mean,
he was impressive in the ring. I gotta say, I gotta give him his props.
Yeah, he trains hard, and I mean, he's not a big guy, so he's really got to go in there and he's got to attack with his whole body.
Yes.
He can't hold any piece back, so he'll hit you with an arm, a leg.
And not only his wrestling, he definitely laid out a character, and became. The Matador. And he really threw himself into it and gave us a great show. And talking about characters, your character, Buzz Bloodsaw, coming out and just acting completely insane was impressive as well.
Acting, I don't know.
Being completely insane. And I said, you heard me say it on the show, that what the majors are lacking is characters. John Cena coming out in just jeans and a t-shirt, and CM Punk coming out in jeans and a t-shirt. And it's like the guy sitting next to me is in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, why should I give a?
You're in jeans and a t-shirt.
Right. Well, I mean, why should I give a hoot about
Yeah.
And
this guy comes out as a character from a horror film.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Buzz Bloodsaw is an interesting guy, and like I said on the last show, that's a lot of what we're trying to bring back. WWE is supposed to stand for World Wrestling Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If you're not being entertained, then what's the point?
Right.
We want you to see that there's a guy who's a matador, there's the psychopath, there's the German, there's the HTA, his whole thing. There's Lucifer Lords, there's Loco, Azrael. We want you to have that entertainment factor.
Yeah.
And without that, I mean, what are you really doing?
Right.
Then you got to have the fireworks, Not that we don't want fireworks. I mean, hey, who doesn't like a good set of fireworks?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's important to make sure.
Especially the loud ones when they go off right at 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Always at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
But I must say that you put out a fantastic show, very entertaining, family friendly. You guys had the giveaways and candy for the kids, and
Yeah.
it was just a good time, and I recommend anybody that has. On a small budget too.
Yeah.
I mean, the tickets were as low as $5.
$5, yeah.
And you can bring your family down. It's less than a movie. We had 3 hours, a little over 3 hours of entertainment, and just a lot of fun. And the guys were accessible. We got my son's picture taken with the championship belt, and everyone was hanging out and just having a really good time. And bring the family out. And I recommend you went up to.
We went to
Bristol.
We went to Bristol to the Boys and Girls Club, Extremely Talented Wrestling, the same night.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you didn't make it last time, I mean, this time we do have. I mean, we don't have candy giveaway because it's not Halloween, but we do have Santa will be there. So if you'd like to bring the kids down, take a picture on Santa's lap, we'll have that. And then you were mentioning before December 4th, there's a Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
December 1st is also going to be a Toys for Tots event.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so you come down, bring an unwrapped gift for a child, donate it, and every gift brought down, you get a raffle ticket. So you'll be able to be entered in for a prize just for coming down with a gift for a child. And it's important that we do things like that because I mean, especially right now. I mean, we just had Hurricane Sandy, and then we had a snowstorm a week later. It's going to be a rough year, so it's probably really important this year. Especially.
How did everything fare with Hurricane Sandy with the school?
Wrestling
The school, I mean, that place is a fortress. Fortunately, we were all right down there, but I do know that the shoreline's been hit pretty hard. I mean, New York's been hit pretty hard, so the Marines are all over. So the Toys for Tots events are really important. So
Definitely.
we're definitely trying to make sure that as many people as possible know. Coming down, donate, because hey, even if you have a
I
little,
encourage anybody to donate as much as they can.
Yeah, little goes a long way when it's a lot of little.
Oh,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
absolutely.
So,
It adds up very fast. And,
My favorite beach got wiped out too.
which one was that?
Musqueamicut State Beach in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had it tough, and again, anybody that can help. We're doing Talking with Tom on December 4th is going to be taking donations for the Toys for Tots, so you can come down to the studio and be part of the live event, or you can just drop something off here, and he's going to have the Marines, and he's going to have Santa here, so Santa's going to go right from the PWA show and come right here to North Haven Television. And,
Santa likes wrestling.
Yeah, Santa loves wrestling, and an unwrapped toy down here for Talking with Tom, and Ed will be here, and I'm guessing you're going to have some special guests as well as Santa, Tom?
Yeah, the Marines will.
Oh, yeah, the United States Marines will be here, and Toys for Tots, anywhere you can donate, whether it's at the PWA show, whether it's here, and there's plenty of spots all across the state. Anybody that didn't get hit very hard and can help somebody that did, and not only just toys, but food given to the shelters. The shelters are really hit, and Connecticut, we got to help each other. Because you know what, nobody else is helping us. You got to help each other, help your neighbors, help your friends, help your family. It'll come back to you. You may not realize it, but one day you'll wake up and say, you know what, hey, something good just happened to me. Maybe it's because you did something good way back when.
Yeah, karma comes around.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. what goes around comes around.
Yeah, where is Karma these days? Anyway? Talking about the Divas division.
Really?
Right? What happened to Karma? She had a baby, and that was that.
That was that. She had a baby and was supposed to come back and just never did.
Yeah. So talking about the knockouts of the Divas, Madison Rayne just entered into a pre-qualifying pageant to get into the Miss America event.
Really?
So, and I believe these days that Miss America is owned by Mr. Donald Trump.
Right.
So Trump back into the wrestling might happen again.
All the ladies are going, I don't know, Madison Rayne with the pageants, Gail Kim getting married to a chef.
A chef, yeah. She might get a little heavy eating that good food. Right?
Comfort cooking.
Right.
That's it.
And one other rumor is that WrestleMania 13, WWE WrestleMania 30 may happen in New Orleans at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, home of the Saints.
Really?
So
they're not going to go back to Madison Square Garden anymore.
I would have thought that the 30th anniversary would have been at Madison Square Garden, bringing it all back home. But I think New York 2 years in a row would be a little stretch.
Right.
Small.
Yeah, and MSG's gotten too small for the WrestleMania event.
Mm-hmm.
But WrestleMania, this year, well, the next year actually, in New York, and then possibly New Orleans. But
the Superdome.
Yeah.
We all remember during Katrina, everybody parked out in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that always brings, not only the events into the region, but, tourism and hotels and, restaurants. And it brings, a good amount of commerce into the area, which definitely New Orleans is still suffering from Katrina and, how many years later. And, they're still trying to bounce back. So I think it's a great move. And, obviously Vince is going to make his profit, but the whole area usually gets a boom. And I know a lot of the independent promotions try to do shows around there, take advantage of the buzz of WrestleMania. So, I mean, it's just a good thing to bring in.
I'm sure
just
that'll be happening this year.
Yeah, just like the Super Bowl coming to your town. It's going to bring in some commerce and help out the economy in that general area. Mm-hmm. So it's a good thing.
Definitely, yeah. We have to watch the Hall of Fame this year. See what they do.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Have they announced anybody yet?
Not yet.
Buzz Bloodsaw's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Not yet.
We'll put Buzz Bloodsaw as the first inductee into the Square Circle Hall of Fame.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right.
We'll have to post them on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And, excuse me.
Jordan's Hall of Fame.
Well, we got to put Jordan in.
We'll put Jordan in there.
Jordan Izzo in the Hall of Fame. There's a vote for Jordan Izzo right there.
We'll take some votes on callers.
Yeah.
Yeah. The future endeavored.
Right, future endeavored. Well, we got some birthdays happening too, right?
Yeah, we got a couple birthdays today. Nick Patrick, the referee, former WCW, WWE referee, turned 53 years old. Chris Jericho turned 42.
42. Wow. Imagine that. Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho is now 42.
He's coming to Connecticut, I believe, next week with Fozzy with 3 Days Grace and a whole bunch of other bands that I can't remember at the moment. Mm-hmm. But I would go just to see Fozzy right in Wallingford at the Oakdale.
They're going to be at the Oakdale.
Yeah. Look that up, at the Oakdale website, and you can go see Chris Jericho. I saw him in New York at BB King's and As Close as I Am to You, and he put on a fantastic show. Mm-hmm. And he brought out Vinnie Paul, came out to the show. The members of Avenged Sevenfold were at the show, and he brings out quite a following. And you'd be surprised at how many rock stars are into the wrestling scene. And I saw online Rob Zombie at the show. So I mean, there's another rock and wrestling connection. So going all the way back to Captain Lou and Cyndi Lauper, the rock and wrestling connection still happens.
I know.
3MB, three-man band. Yeah, well,
the 3MB is totally not in the same league.
But yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah, but like I said, I saw Fozzy, and the new album's great. I like the last album a little bit better, but the new album's really heavy. It's worth picking up. It started, Fozzy, as you read in Jericho's book, Fozzy started out as kind of a goof and something to do while he was, hanging around. And it became a real band. Mm-hmm. And the last two albums are really good. And if I played them for you, any heavy metal, hard rock heavy metal fan, if you played it without realizing it was a wrestler singing, right, you'd be really impressed with the CD.
Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't sound like he doesn't sound the same as he does like when
Right,
he picks up
he's
a
not
mic.
in full promo
Right.
mode when he's singing, and
No.
he actually pulls it off. And you know, we all know he has charisma. We all know he can command an audience. So I mean, add that to you know, a front man of a band, you know, and that's all it takes. You know, I mean, that's he's got that charisma. You know, and the front man of a band needs charisma, so he's got it, and he actually can sing. You know, and the band that he joined, Rich Ward, the guitar player, had already been playing for 20 some odd years in regional bands and stuff like that.
Right.
So all he did was take it, you know, front an existing band and you know, gave him the exposure, and you know, good for them. You know, here's these guys that were kind of, you know, middling around, and he, you know, by adding Chris Jericho, got him a record deal, and got him on world tours, and they've been to all the festivals in Europe, and you know, done some big shows.
Didn't they start on Nitro?
Yes,
Didn't they play a
yeah.
show like their first time I ever saw him with Fozzy was on Nitro?
Yes. Wow.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, without Chris Jericho, that's probably not going to happen.
Right.
But
Right.
you know, that's a ton of exposure right there.
So you know, I mean, people think, you know, it's silly, it's a goof, it's a side project, but you know, for the members of the band, you know, now they got a career out of it. You know, so I mean, you know, props to them. And like I said, it went from being a joke to being you know, serious music. And the last album, Chasing the Grail, was the album previous to the latest release. Chasing the Grail, I would put up there in the top 50 of heavy metal albums that I own anyway. And I've seen Maiden, and I've seen Kiss, and I've seen, you know, I can sit here for hours telling you the shows I've been to, and Fozzy really turned it on.
Chris Jericho, Y2J,
Y2J. Yeah, imagine that. It's already, you know,
42 years old.
yeah. And it's
And when he
already,
goes off tour, he'll probably come back to Vince.
maybe when he needs to promote something else, you know, book or a tour, a game show, or
Whatever.
something else.
I didn't like his game show.
No.
I wasn't crazy about that.
We mentioned you mentioned Batista before. I saw Man with the Iron Fists, and Batista has a role in it. I don't want to say a starring role, and he did okay. He didn't have a whole lot of lines, which was good, and he just was Batista being a big muscular dude. And the film was very good. RZA directed it, and with some help from Quentin Tarantino, and it had the very stylized form of the 70s, you know, martial arts movies that we watched on Channel 9 and Channel 11 when we were growing up, and some of the moves that I'm sure that you emulated in the ring as a kid, you know, in our backyard. And you know, it was entertaining. I don't want to say it was as good as Kill Bill, because I don't think anything is as good as Kill Bill, but it's definitely worth seeing. Batista didn't embarrass himself, and maybe he's going to get some more roles out of it. And he had a better shot, better role in this than he did in that Scorpion King 3 or 4 direct-to-DVD piece of garbage that it was. But it was fun. It was definitely worth seeing, and good luck to Batista in his future endeavors.
Right. 234-0025. We're here for another 10 minutes with Bloodsaw.
That's right. Whatever you need to know. PWA.
PWA. And
So,
the next card is December 1st, like you said.
December 1st, we got that show coming up down in Shelton, Connecticut. You know, one positive place. It's the Boys and Girls Club in Lower Naugatuck Valley. Doors open at 7:30. Bell time is 8 p.m. I mean, we're really trying to do our best to make sure people can find out info wherever they need it. So we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Powerhouse Wrestling. And we're also, we have our own website now, www.prowrestlingacademyct.com. And, you know, we keep everything streaming on there. So, you know, we also have like our roster on there. So if you want to take a look at any of the guys closer, you can see what we've got going on. I mean, we do have a couple of other guys coming in who their matches haven't been announced, but their presence has been announced. So let me just give you that real quick. So we've got Mexico's Mega Muerte, which I think a few people know, one or two. North Africa's Solo, which is a guy I haven't met yet, but from what I understand, he's quite the sizable individual. China's Bolo Young, the South's Earl Cooter, Nocturne, Tommy Mack, Chris Battle, and a couple other people coming in. So, a couple of guys from around Connecticut. But we're
You
also
have your work cut out for you defending that title.
I tell you, as long as the competition keeps getting bigger, I'm all right for it.
And it truly is. I mean, you're going through all the different countries. It truly is an international wrestling title.
Absolutely. We don't want to lie about what we're doing here. I mean, we're here to entertain, and we're international. I mean, in addition to the wrestlers that we're bringing in and stuff like that, we're also planning what we're calling our Blitzkrieg tour. So, you were mentioning, the wrestling companies that, may be in the area of WrestleMania. I mean, we haven't planned that far ahead, but I do know that for early 2013, we've already got a multi-state, hopefully multi-country tour planned. So, I mean, we'll see. I gotta admit, I can't remember them all. I get hit in the head a lot for a living. But we're already in Connecticut. We're also planning to travel through New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Ohio. And I know that we've been talking to Canada, Mexico, Ecuador, and England about taking the PWA title and all of our staff, roster right along with us and traveling the world and, really proving that people coming out of Connecticut on the independent level, we really are a force to be reckoned with.
Well, do you need some commentators to go on the tour?
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I'm not the boss.
Especially if you go on tour during the winters. That way, I'm not around for the snow.
Yeah. We're leaving, I believe, in January. We're coming back sometime late March, early April. We're traveling around every weekend doing 1-2 shows. I know we're going to be in West Virginia also, which hasn't been added to this yet. We have 3 shows down there, and it's just going to be a good time.
Plans on documenting that, like on the website? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be on the website. Obviously, Pro Wrestling Academy CT, we're posting everything up as we're getting it along. We're posting up, what our wrestlers are doing elsewhere. Like not this past weekend, but the weekend before, myself and Nocturne claimed the tag titles in Underground Wrestling in Ohio. Joseph von Schmidt successfully defended his Underground Championship out there. So we're really trying to keep everything up to date and keep it, moving and progressing along. It's important that we keep ourselves and other wrestlers in the loop on what's going on.
Right.
So,
can you tell us? Obviously, you're from Pro Wrestling Academy. Tell us a little bit more about the school again.
The school itself.
Hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I mean the school itself. Whatever you'd like to be wrestling-wise, you can train there for it. If you want to be a ref, commentator, ring announcer, you just mentioned that, valet, diva, wrestler, obviously. We train it all down there. So when you come into the school, you meet with the head trainers, Joseph von Schmidt, Super Zeta, when he comes up from Mexico. He's also one of the trainers there. And we kind of go through everything, starting from how to wrestle, what wrestling's all about, understanding that that's entertainment. That's, again, like I said, one of our big driving points. And then you wrestle. I mean, at the school, we do have a ring permanently set up. We also have another 16-foot ring. We have another 18-foot ring. So, we can travel around. You learn everything. And I got to tell you, you get you in great shape. And if it's something you've loved and you grew up on, there's nothing better than doing it. It's just a really good time. So, what we do, we train hard. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 6 to 10. We open on Fridays and Saturdays if we're not traveling. So, but yeah, we really try and just train hard and work hard. That's what it's all about.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I've brought both of my sons down. We've checked it out. We watched you train.
I have to get over there sometime and take a look at it too.
Oh, yeah,
hey, come on down.
That's great. And you know what? All the guys there, come up to you, stop what they're doing, and say, hey, thanks for coming down. And we're just really just hanging out and checking you out. And you guys have been very gracious to us and very nice to the boys. And Joseph always makes time for you, and says, hey, it's just a very relaxed and good atmosphere, and we're watching the ring announcer writing up his stuff and working on it, and then to see him actually go and and put it to use.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's he come along, and seeing him, it's like standing in the corner with the mic, kind of timid, and working on it and reading from the script, and then coming out and actually announcing the matches and seeing, and it was only a matter of a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And he got in the ring and did a great job, and you can see the progress. And obviously, as I said about Escobar's performance, having seen him, just messing around in the ring at the gym, and then actually putting on a performance, it was like night and day. And I'm like, wow. And, I went from having my doubts about, and then seeing him, really turn it on. And even yourself, your character, from sitting here and then actually being becoming Buzz Bloodsaw.
Yeah,
Right.
when the paint goes on, it's a different game entirely.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really neat. It's a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. And like you said, if you want to get involved, it's something you want to do. And there's more than one job. It's there. There's all sorts of things that you can do. And you can be a ref. You can be the ring announcer. You can work the cameras.
Work the cameras, sound, promoting. There's always something.
You guys had a computer display up, with matches and promos in between the matches and stuff. And I'm sure somebody's got to put that together.
Yeah. We post all the promos on both of our websites. That way, when you want to get ready to see, who's going to be coming on in the next show. I know we've already got a preliminary video posted on the website where you can go on there, see some of the matches that have been announced, who's coming in, learn more about the characters. And that's really when you get to see, because, you don't get to see us 8 hours a week, like you do on TV. So we've got to make sure that you see what you're going to, know what you're coming into, and you can come in there kind of understanding, who's mad at who, why, and really be into it without having
that
to
national television exposure.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, we're starting with you guys, and then when you guys go national, we'll go with you.
Exactly.
So,
well, I mean, technically we are national. We have our YouTube channel.
We have our YouTube channel.
We do have the YouTube show, and hopefully, you'll tell your friends, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and going back to that old adage.
Yeah.
And,
perhaps sooner or later, the powers that be here at NHTV, they would like to have all the programs here live streamed.
Hey, there you go.
So I mean, it'll happen.
It's something that can happen.
You got to start somewhere, and and the CM Punk DVD show that he started literally in his backyard, and and looking now he's at the top of the food chain.
I know.
Yeah.
And,
you got to fight your way through big guys, but eventually it all comes together.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we got to wrap it up.
Getting ready to wrap things up here at the Squared Circle.
What else do we got? Anything?
We don't have too much more. We have just a little bit about Ric Flair, and that they're hopeful to get him to be able to join the company in January or February as WrestleMania season approaches.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, right now it's still the whole lawsuit issue with was it TNA and the WWE, and nobody can really go anywhere right now. So.
One other thing, WWE just put out a 3 DVD set of the NWO. That invasion from Nitro.
Oh yeah.
And the 1 hour documentary that's on the first disc is really fantastic to watch. And the best clip is Vince Russo, really sour grapes, saying, "Oh, you guys, you guys fell into that and you just ran with it. It was an accident." And maybe it was, but it was better than anything Vince Russo had written at that point. And Vince Russo was really sour grapes, and that one little 30-second clip is worth the price of the DVD itself. But that whole, they showed the original appearance of Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
When it came through.
Coming through on Nitro.
Yep, I remember that, of course.
And then the following week, they had the clip from Nitro of Kevin Nash coming in, and then the Bash at the Beach where Hogan turned. And it was a really fun time in wrestling, and it's fun to go back and watch it.
Yep.
And for $20 you get 3 DVDs. It's like 6 hours, almost 7 hours worth of entertainment. And
I think I know too much about the NWO.
Yeah.
Hollywood, Jay Williams.
I know. Yeah. But it's a fun DVD to watch, and like I mentioned before, the CM Punk DVD is definitely worth seeing, especially if you're an aspiring young gentleman like we have here, and to see that it can really happen for you.
Definitely. Well, we're going to wrap things up here, but just one more thing I wanted everybody to know. Did get some footage from the Extremely Talented Wrestling.
Excellent.
A few weeks ago, and we're not on here every single week, so when our next break occurs, I'm going to start showing that footage.
Oh, excellent.
I'd like to do that. I'm going to get with the powers that be here, and I'm not Vince Russo neither.
Right.
And we can split that tape up. I have about an hour and 45 minutes or so worth of footage.
Excellent.
And I figure we'll show a little bit one week, and the following week when we're still not on.
Right.
Because I definitely want to do all I can here to promote independence.
Right, and I am in negotiations with Joseph von Schmidt to get some matches and have those shown on our website and also on NHTV. and we'll get that together, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and in the meantime, if they want to see anything, I know at the shows we do tend to have DVDs of what we did at the last show. So,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, collect your discs.
Yeah, come on.
East Haven viewers too. We're also airing
We're also
over there.
on East Haven TV. We're in their rotation, so right after this show, I bring it right down to the studio, and they put it into the rotation.
Well, I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Good night and good luck. I want to thank Buzz Bloodsaw.
Thank you, guys.
I'm John Zimmerman, and again, our guest is fantastic. Check out PWA online, check out our YouTube show, and we'll see you next week.
Good night and good luck.